So now I've actually turned ad segments into like, that's my time to be on the desk.
Just a little roast.
2015, I know exactly. The difference is, guys, it's okay to do it on YouTube. I can't lie. When I do look back, it is kind of mad. I used to just do that shit like on the majors at like the World Championship. Part of me was wondering, JW, like, that's why I always give Valve credit. You think about, you hear about all these stories about like Blizzard and Riot, how they're all like controlling and shit like that. Like, how did Valve just like let me do all that? They're not just going, get that guy the fuck out. He's controlling the players. Like, I was going pretty well back in the day.
You literally would just call people ugly at a major. It's like, what the hell how is this okay?
By the way,
no
one was walking safe.
No, of course. No, mate, especially because, remember, it was all because at the time they just pioneered that technique where when we were talking in the pregame, they would go down the line, wouldn't they, with the camera when the camera went back. And that was always where I did the roast of like what the person looks like, even though, again, it's like the most lowbrow humor. But here's one moment, though, where I actually give credit to JW publicly, though. I've said this in the past. In the same way as, even though they have done content with me, so fair play, they got over it, people like Taz and Fallen actually did get butthurt, I can tell you. They behind the scenes, sometimes in this little player, like, unofficial union, they did want to get people like me and Richard kicked off the events. They were all going, hey, they're fucking making fun. And I'll give them both credit right now. JW and NBK quite literally did both actually stand up for us in that group and tell people like, oh, come on, like they're part of the show, like they're entertaining people, like they're adding something. They actually did fight for that side, even though, by the way, sometimes JW was one of the victims. He was getting the odd shot, you know.
Yeah, I was never safe from anyone, to be honest, from anyone.
True. Although I think I paid you back well. I'm actually the only human in the entire history of Counter-Strike, JW, who doesn't think you all deserve like the death penalty for doing a fucking triple boost on a map where LDLC just did a shitter 2-man boost and saw the exact same pixels on the screen. I've always said that, mate. Everyone retells that story completely wrong. They make you guys the ultimate villains, and then they never even mention that they did it like about 3 times themselves. Like they just didn't have as good a boost. Like in that scenario, it's like America in war. You can't complain. Get good. Just get a better army. You should figure out how to beat us in war.
I think, like every time I hear people like retell that story, like everyone mentions that we were offered to replay the CT side.
Yes.
While the offer was to replay the whole map, pretty much, because their boost was just as illegal as ours was.
I think it would have been fair. I'm with you, mate. I remember I was there in the room. The fair decision would have just been replay the whole game and no one does the boosts, wouldn't it? Come on.
Yeah. But then again, we got in a position where it was a lose-lose situation. I feel like I think today I would probably replay it.
Yes.
When you know better all that, but we were younger back then and more vulnerable, I feel like.
And I'll just say this, even though also people like NBK were also friends of mine and people in that team, Apex, it was actually in that squad. The ones who were in that team, I will tell you this though, guys, and you must know in your hearts now you're retired, this is true. The reason you wouldn't accept the entire replay is because you couldn't believe after that first half you were actually leading against Fnatic and you'd almost won the game. You had never beaten Fnatic on LAN with that lineup ever, and in your mind, you were too scared to bring that back and start at 0-0 because what if you just lost the game straight up? I'm just going to say that right now. You know you couldn't handle giving up that 12-3 half or whatever it was. So they know it's true, mate. They never said it at the time. Everyone denied it. But I think that whole thing's so fucking regrettable. Anyway, that's a whole tangent. That's a side tangent. I got fucking inspired. I was back in the moment there again. I was back at Dreamhack winter 2014. I was seeing that little guy, that little fucking Hobbit guy who was, by the way, also, that's why it was a lose-lose, Maui, because the guy who was the admin was Swedish. It was a Swedish event in Sweden, and one of the teams is Swedish, right? You understand if you ever make the ruling for the Swedish team, that's just remembered as the most corrupt ruling of all time. So they almost had to make the ruling for fucking LDLC at that point in time. And also, it did create what I think is one of the most underrated jokes of all time, because fans just didn't know the backstory, which is, this is not a joke, this is real. The one thing I'll give credit to JW and the Swedes for is both teams were trying to actually forfeit because there was so much drama, and you guys actually beat the French in a battle to surrender first. That's just a fucking classic joke. Not even good. It's low hanging. I feel almost ashamed of myself, but let's face it, I don't have shame. That's my special superpower. Let's keep talking about CS. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.